is probably not the safest. And it happened to me. There's me right there. That's me, a picture with me, and I had some worms in my stomach in that picture because I did not eat good street food. I ate at a place that not a lot of people usually go to. So it happens, but you got to be careful. And I just took a pill, and everything was all good. And also ask yourself, how many people usually eat here? So if no one's really eating there might be a reason for that. So make sure you're going to places that are popular. Usually, you can be adventurous, but you got to be careful. And yes, and that is what I took. The Wormplex 400 pill. That saved me a lot of pain and agony that weekend. So, and look at that ad. Do you see anything about worms in there? No, you just see some happy people. Probably because they just got rid of worms. But, you know, I just see people. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And focus on the people. Okay. All right, now, I'm leaving up. We're cruising along here. I'm talking about some growth industries. So these are what's new, what's popping in Africa. I'm going to give you a little taste of that. So we got health, retail, and construction. So health is a lot of disease precaution, and there's a lot of streamlining of the medical services. So a lot of disease precaution. Many mosquito nets are being sold in pharmacies all over to try and prevent malaria and try and prevent people from getting bit at night. There's also streamlining medical services in the sense that a lot of these little types of like smaller, high-end medical equipment is making its move into the market. Like some ultrasound equipment that's not as expensive as something you'll see in the hospitals around here, or it's on a little lower level, a little more less expensive. It can be a lot more profitable and a lot more like safe and healthier and friendly. So like ultrasound is huge. Actually, Maxim, my company right now, is selling into ultrasound. We do the high-speed analog to digital converters for that. And so it bounces off, it's really accurate, and it bounces off pulses off inside the woman, and they get it back, and they can paint a really nice picture. And the picture can be in 3D, and now Maxim, I'm just like selling my company right now, Maxim enables technology that will enable 3D, HD, ultrasound imaging. So very intense, very interesting, and it's coming all throughout the health fields there in Africa right now. There's also retail. Thinking about retail, there's a lot of small margins, but there can be some big gains depending on what you're going for. You got to make sure you have a good supply chain process, and you got to make sure that you have some good selling points. But you can make a lot of money because a lot of people have a lot of simple, basic needs, and that's obviously a huge industry there. And there's actually not a lot of supermarkets. Like you don't just go walk into Stop and Shop or Price Chopper while you're in Africa. No, it's just like these little markets. So try and differentiate yourself and try and make some good profits on this stuff. And bricks, clicks, and logistics, of course, are always play a huge important role. Online sales are not really budding so much, at least in Ghana right now, because of the whole POS system. Not a lot of people have the electronic savings accounts, electronic checking accounts. So it can be quite difficult. Excuse me. And as well as construction. There's a weak infrastructure, so in this population growth. So what do we got to do? We got to build. And many companies are building. There's a lot of Chinese contractors in Africa right now. They're building all over, like improving highways, better buildings, more Energy Star, LEED energy compliant buildings right now. So they're working on more sustainability. It's a big selling point. So there's a lot of construction companies all over Ghana right now, and a lot of them are Chinese. So a lot of opportunities to be had, and very, very interesting. So we're moving on to another question. Oh, I don't think anyone's perfect right now. Maybe someone is, but that would be very amazing. So here's the question. What is the only gas station I saw in Ghana that also competes in the US? Okay. Time is up. Answers are in. And we're moving to the answer. Shell, baby. Shell. all throughout the world, and that's the only one I saw in Ghana that was also here in the US. So, just something to be aware of. The global presence of Shell. Trying to just dab you with some knowledge there. So, we're cruising. Some noted differences I have to mention for everybody. In life, in culture, in business. This is what I saw. This is like some of my primary gains. Some of my opinions that I just want to give to everybody so they have a good idea of like what's going on. So you won't just like walk around the city just like, whoa, where do I go? What am I doing right now? I have no idea how to get here. I don't even know like what it's called. Like it can be quite confusing sometimes. So here we go. Let me try and help everybody. Notice that there's a lot of bargaining in Africa. You won't see a lot of price tags going on. And not everyone has the actual like machines that will do that for everybody. So you gotta kind of ask the person like, yo, what's the price for this umbrella? And they'll just be like, brah, it's 20 Ghana cedis. And you'll be like, okay, 20 Ghana cedis, that's like $15. That sounds good. And you buy an umbrella for $15 and you're pretty happy about it. And then you go talk to your Ghanaian friend Evans and he's just like, yo, that thing should only cost 3 Ghana cedis. And you're just like, what? I thought I scored a great deal. No, you should really get some information, some know-how from people around you to see like what this should actually cost. Ask strangers. I know I did it. I ask strangers all the time like, yo, how much is this? Like, how much is this cab fare? How much should it be? Like, I just talk to people so you don't get screwed. Like, I feel like I'm part of the population. Like, I should get a fair price. And I'm working business deals. I can't just be spending tons of money on extra superfluous things. So bargaining is very important. Hey, there's a picture of me right there bargaining for one of my shirts, one of my African dress shirts. So I think I got that baby I got 2 for 15 Ghana cedis. So like $7.50 for one of those puppies. Which is very cool. A lot of good deals out there to score, but make sure you're scoring them to the best of your ability, in my opinion. So there's cab fare, there's tro fare you gotta pay for, there's umbrellas, there's phones, there's clothes, and of course there's passports. So let me hop on the tro fare here. Tro-tros are the way to go, especially when you're traveling around Ghana. I'm sure that there's tro-tros all throughout Africa, and you'll see some. Tro-tros are basically these big, oftentimes Mercedes vans that fit 18 people, and they're great. They're very great. They're very efficient. They drive around, and they usually go on routes. So there's a driver driving his manual stick shift. If you want to be driving in Africa, make sure you know how to drive a stick shift. And there's also the mate, like out the window, just going, Abeka La Paz, Abeka La Paz. So I was always looking for Abeka La Paz because that's where my home market is. And yeah, they go on routes, so you got to know where to get them. So ask some friends of where to find these tro-tros. There's stations that leave every morning to the same places, so you can go to the stations to get an idea. There's also some that go on routes all throughout the city. So make sure you got an open ear when you're walking down the city. Make sure you're hearing for these Abeka La Paz tro-tros or wherever you're trying to go, because they'll help you out, and they're much cheaper than a cab. And also passports. You think a passport would be like kind of easy to get, or maybe not. Well, it's actually only like $10 to get a passport in Ghana. But to actually get a passport in Ghana, to actually have the passport given to you, so within your possession, you got to speed up the process somehow. In order to do that, you usually got to pay some cash Ghana cedis, which can be like 100 Ghana cedis extra just to get it to go. Because no one will do the work. Like, they'll see your order, but they won't do anything because you're not giving them enough. You got to give them a motive for doing it. They don't have enough motive from their job sometimes. So you really got to be careful. Okay, we're moving on to preparation. Like I'm saying, know what you're doing, know what you're buying, talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to strangers. Have an idea of what's going on. Don't just be a misinformed, uninformed traveler. You need to know things, definitely. There's a different kind of handshake going on. A lot of the professional handshakes are simple, like what you usually see here in the US. But in Ghana, I don't have my sister here or anyone to demonstrate with me right now, but you kind of grab the middle finger and the thumb together as you're leaving the handshake. Normal handshake, middle finger and thumbs come together on each person, and then it's like a snap. A snap kind of goes on. So just be aware of it. Greater respect for the elderly. Yeah, have an idea of what's going on. One time I was playing soccer, and I was just like going to town with all these like little kids in my neighborhood, and all of a sudden an old elderly man started walking, and everything stopped. No one moved at all. And like I'm still like being this wily American, just like, raging around and just like kicking it, and I almost hit the elderly dude, and he just stops and he just stares at me. I was like, whoa, should not have done that. So you gotta be tame around the elderly people. Give them lots of respect. They like that. Depending upon the industry, there's varying degrees of relaxation. So a lot of people selling these goods in the markets, selling the phone cards, like they're usually just like chilling, waiting for people to stop by. So it's a pretty relaxed, cool atmosphere. I made a lot of friends in the markets, and it was a lot of fun. We like joked around, and they were really fun, and they enjoyed my stay there. So I thought it was so great. And there's also a lot of waste. Be warned. There's trash everywhere. Not a really good picking up infrastructure, waste disposal infrastructure. So, but you get used to it after a couple of weeks. But it's unlike anything you've ever seen before. At least unlike anything I had ever seen before.